Something we don't acknowledge on the left is that women aren't interested in mating with men who aren't economically viable.
Why do we hate those women? Because when it was reversed, when it was more men graduating from college, you didn't see women lining up to hate them. And now those young men look at those women, those successful women, and they look at them with anger, with fury. Explain this one to me.
So you're absolutely right. And when these men get isolated, they are more prone to misogynistic content. They're less likely to believe in climate change. They're more prone to the conspiracy theory. I want to be clear. No one has an obligation to service men who aren't having sex. No group has fallen further faster in our nation than young men.
All right. Scott Galloway says some very important stuff sometimes, and sometimes he misses the mark. I agree. I mean, obviously I agree with the stuff about how lonely men end up isolating themselves and they just kind of like spiral like 100%. But he didn't answer the woman's question. So let's go through it.
Something we don't acknowledge on the left is that women aren't interested in mating with men who aren't economically viable.
Why?
Yes, women aren't interested. I love that he said economically viable. I maybe have got that from him. I thought I came up with that, or not came up with it, but I thought like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I heard it from him. I don't know. But I say that all the time, being economically viable. It's just odd because I've never really heard anybody say that. But yeah, being economically viable is like par for the course. Like, of course, you should be economically viable. Depending on what area you live in, you should be on par with the majority of people in your demographic, right? Like if you're between the age of 25 and 30, you should and everybody or 60-70% of the people in that group have an apartment. You should have an apartment. If 80% of them have their own car, you should have your own car. If I don't know, 90 of them have a job that makes $50,000 a year, you should have a job that makes around $50,000 a year, right? Or you're behind, right? If you don't. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's common sense. Of course, women want a man that's economically viable. It's the same thing how men get so bent out of shape. Even though women exaggerate the whole tall thing. Don't get me wrong. They really do. Because plenty of shorter guys are attracted to get women often. But the whole height thing, the way that it ends up playing out is like if a woman wants to be with an average man, the average height of a man is 5'9", 5'10". If you're 5'4" or 5'5", you're well below the average height, and that could be concerning for a woman. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean I'm not messing with you, whatever the case may be, disqualified. But it's like, I can see why a woman would be like concerned with that, because that may be, that may point to some other health issues or something like that, or why, you know what I mean? Or you're talking about breeding or whatever the case may be. Like, I understand, totally understand having babies with a man that's that short matters, so, or can, I'm sorry, it can matter. It doesn't really matter, but it can matter. So a woman wanting a man to be of average height or somewhere around there makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? But men like to, get bent all out of shape about stuff like that and be like, oh, how dare she expect me to be of average height? It's like, I mean, she just wants a man of average height. She's of average height and she wants a man of average height. She's not short and she's not tall. She just wants an average height. She just same way with money. She's not a millionaire. She's not 100,000-aire. She makes $40,000-$50,000 a year. She wants you to make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. That's it. She has her own apartment. She wants you to have her own apartment. She has her own car. She wants you to have your own car. She has a job. She wants you to have a job. Like, it just makes sense. That's all I'm saying. It's like, that's not crazy, but men like to blow shit like that out of proportion, and try to like make every woman into like a gold digging, vain woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just wants a millionaire and a man that's 9 feet tall with a 19-inch wang. And it's like, nah, my nigga, that's not what I'm hearing at all.
Why do we hate those women? Because when it was reversed, when it was more men Because when it was reversed,
hold on. Here's the question that Scott didn't answer.
why do we hate those women? Because when it was reversed, when it was more men graduating from college, you didn't see women lining up to hate them. And now those young men look at those women, those successful women, and they look at them with anger, with fury. Explain.
So why do men hate women who are educated now? So men know that an educated woman, it just more than anything is gonna it signals a woman that doesn't need you, right? That's one part of it. And also, and if they don't need you, then it's harder for you to manipulate them, right? She has more options. Once again, harder to manipulate her when she has more options. And then she is intelligent, hard to talk. Once again, hard to manipulate. All these things point to men wanting to be in a power position with a woman, and men, spend their entire relationships trying to be in that power position with the woman, right? So that's ultimately where it comes from. From what I can tell, it just seems like it's just men on some like it's the same men that are like, you already got a home. What can I do for you then? You already bought you a house. Dang, I can't even buy you out. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that, man. It's like, you got an education. Like what can you learn from me? A motherfucker that barely graduated from high school. What can you learn from me? And it just makes the man feel so insecure. So that is why. That's a big reason why. That's not the only reason why. I think there's a lot of other reasons too, but I think those are some of the biggest reasons I could think of. Men just fearing not being able to control a woman is like devastating to men. Very devastating. Men don't like intelligent girls. They don't like intelligent women. They don't like smart women. They don't like witty women. They like a woman to be smart enough to do the job, but just dumb enough to know that she can do better with somebody. Like, they don't want a woman that actually, can figure out that, this dude's lying to her or clock his shit, whatever case may be, which the vast majority of women can and do. But, they think they think they're tricking her because she usually allows him to think that she ain't clocking him. But ultimately, she just is like not able. She's hard to be manipulated, and that's what the men fear the most.
This one to me.
So you're absolutely right. And when these men get isolated, they are more prone to misogynistic content. They're less likely to believe in climate change. They're more prone to the conspiracy theory. I want to be clear. No one has an obligation to service men who aren't having sex. No group has fallen further faster in our...
Men isolating themselves and because they don't have access to women, that's a known thing. Women are just so viable, so viable. Women are so valuable to men. You know what I mean? In so many ways, man. And it's really, that shouldn't be the case. By the way, that shouldn't be the case. Women shouldn't be, we shouldn't be reliant this much on women or on any group of people, to be honest with you. Especially once we become adults. But men just refuse to grow. We refuse to be independent human beings, which is pigeonholing us and making it virtually impossible for us to be happy and content, right? And I mean, that should be the goal, but we're falling short.